We're live. We did it.
Hey,
Welcome. Hello.
everybody's
Yes.
Well, you know, if we're here and we're live, that means it's Monday night. I know. What is that? But the fact that we're here and live means it's MCU Mondays. That's much more exciting. Monday night, it's the end of a Monday. MCU Mondays. Hey, all right. Yes, we're gonna have some fun. Yeah, we are. All right. I'm your host, Chris, and I'm joined, as I always am, by my co-host, Debbie. Debbie!
Chris.
How you doing today, Debbie?
I'm good.
Ready to talk
Ready to
about
get
She-Hulk?
Yeah. Ready to get the week over too.
already.
Already.
It's been long enough. Yeah, I
It
agree.
has. They need to shorten the work weeks.
We're joined also by David down below us, sporting the MCU Monday shirts. Way to go, man.
You can buy
I love
these
it.
online, by the way.
Boner
If
alert.
you really want one, you walk around the Target or Walmart or whatever. MCU
the
Mondays.
links in the description, and boner is spelled with an H because we're classy, just like Marvel.
That's right. You get people looking at you dirty, like, "What does that mean?" And you go watch my show, and you'll find out.
Want to trigger a boner alert of your own? Just tune in. That's right. People will be jealous. That being said, today we're here to talk about She-Hulk because last week talked about She-Hulk. That's what's happening. That's what we're talking about. We also talked about D23. There were some interesting trailers, interesting stuff that happened, but that's been talked about now. And so the main focus again for now is She-Hulk. And I think we've got a great episode to talk about today. Makes me glad that we put 2 episodes into last week's episode and we get a chance to talk about this one in its entirety today. But before we can do any of that, we've got to play the theme song. So I'm trying to think. I've only got 2 theme songs on here. All right, we'll go with this one. I was like, which theme song should we pick? Because I didn't make a new one for today. Shame.
Oh, slacker.
Oh.
Yeah, right. Oh, this guy. You didn't make a new. You didn't unnecessarily make a new theme song for today. No, I didn't. So let's play this. This is the one I made for She-Hulk originally, so that should be good.
She just cue the music.
Here we are. MCU Mondays. You got that right, Robert. Got mine. Oh, you
Whoa,
got the shirt.
Robert got a shirt.
All right, we're going to have to all actually start wearing them at the same time now because
Send out a programming note before and say, "Hey, don't forget to wear your shirt tonight."
Hello.
Hello.
Susan, not my fave so far. Susan, are you talking about this specific episode? Or are you talking about shows in general? Yeah.
The MCU
So
series.
is this not your favorite show so far? Is this not your favorite episode so far? Because what we're talking about again is She-Hulk. That's what's out right now. That's what's happening. And this week, I think, was one of the better episodes. Here's why. I'll defend it.
Okay. I'm like,
He was too stunned to speak.
I said, like, when I'm qualifying things, like one of the better episodes, I haven't been generally a fan of this so far, but if you've been watching, if you've been listening to what I've been saying, one of the characters I have enjoyed, and if he had been in this episode more, it would be even higher up on my list. But Pug is one of my favorite characters in this show, and him and Nikki in the show and their interaction, every interaction they had and everything they did together, I was like, if we could get more of this, I'd be more interested. But why don't you guys tell me what you think about the show? What did you think from beginning to end? Anything you want to talk about, and I'll take a look at the comments. But I want to talk more about like the Pug thing, the Nikki thing, because that gets into what a larger part of the episode is about. But there's, again, when I say this is one of my ones that I like better, there's still tons of problems with the show. So when I say like I was looking for something to like, I found something to like. Pug and Nikki, yeah, I'm down. But what did you guys think? What are your thoughts?
I like the episode. I mean, if I recall, I meant to watch it before this show, and I totally forgot. But I don't think there was any fourth wall breaks.
I can't.
Maybe right at the beginning, because usually there is a where she says something like she'll say something about the episode like right at the beginning, and she'll turn to the camera and say, "Oh, well, we're about to start this show," and it's like, okay, there it is.
Nothing specifically springs to mind like some of the other ones where she's in the car and there's a big. So I don't think there was.
I don't know.
Big.
I don't remember, but
Debbie,
usually it's the first.
But I mean, it was, if you want to call it more loitering, I mean, it was more, in the courtroom type thing. I'm with Chris. I loved Nikki and Pug. I thought they were hilarious, especially when they went to go see the, what was his name? The
fashion.
Yeah, the fashion designer.
Or the super fashion designer, because it's not just fashion. It's okay. So Edna from The Incredibles is the comparison that's been made.
I thought they were cute together, especially when they got their Avengers.
That was the highlight of the episode. The Avengers and the
So Dave, just so you know, you just agreed with me on the best part of the episode, was what I was saying in the beginning. So when you had that affront,
no, not Pug, just that scene
guy.
where
so what do you think of Pug?
You're
You're just like, you have
whatever.
no opinion. He's a character. He's a guy on a show. Who cares?
He's not a Darcy, but he's there.
I think he's fun. I like his character. I like the way that he acts. I like the fact that he's not portrayed as a piece of crap. Yeah. So there's there's that automatic, but throw that out the window. I like his interaction with Nikki this episode. I thought was a lot of fun. Like when he walks up and he's like, "Knick knack, what's going on? Hey, I need a favor from you." And their back and forth was, I thought, a lot of fun. And when he's like, "I need you to stand in line for some shoes because you only get one per person," and it's like, "Well, you're gonna stand in line too? So what? Why do you need two pairs of Iron Man shoes?" And he's like, "One to rock and one to stock." And she's like, "You're gonna buy an entire pair of shoes just so you can look at them?" Yeah, I'm down with that. And I was just like,
there are people like that.
Yeah, there are
people do that with collectible toys. One to play with, one to display. So.
And especially with sneakers, like sneakerheads, that's a thing. That's totally a thing that happens. And it's definitely something that would, when you're thinking about like men versus women, women, they're so different. That's something that like some men do, is buy sneakers, shoes, and then that's like a bridging the gap type thing. I was like, yeah, look at that. We can exist harmoniously. It's not just
the women that love the shoes.
Yeah. And their interaction with the whole thing, his acting in that scene and her acting in that scene, I thought was great for comedic effect. That wasn't just Three Stooges type nonsense or
it didn't feel
gay women.
forced.
It was, yeah. It was like if there was like, let's see them hang out. Okay, I would much rather see those two hanging out in this show than like Madison and Wong.
Yes.
I know that there are people that would disagree with that because they're like,
I like both,
Wong.
I like both,
Wongers.
but Nikki and Pug were they're just a little bit above.
The viewer ratings
ratings
tank.
Which I don't. Stuart said, "I've seen the viewer ratings tank. I don't know how that's possible because I didn't think they started all that high. But I don't.
How do you get below as low as you were?
I don't like pay huge attention to ratings in that regard because that's just something now that's used for basically social media posts. Like,
and then plus they're getting review bombed so much. I don't know.
There's review bombing in both directions. Like the 10 there'll be let's say like there's 500 ratings on a show. 230 of them will be 10s, 230 of them will be zeros, and then there'll be like 15 spread out amongst people that are like, I don't know, I haven't seen the show yet. It's like, so you can't paying attention to reviews before the show has come out. They're clearly going to be biased one way or the other. And as I think the general opinion on this show is, even though we talk about shows, it's not like you have to believe what I believe or what Debbie believes or what David. I'm like, this is just our opinions on the movie. And if you want to have an opinion on the movie, you should probably go see the movie.
Go see it. And
that's why we like to see your thoughts in the comments. My favorite so far. Let's see. John said, I think the show is hot. I think he said,
I think it's
hit and miss. I know, but I wanted to say hot. It's a hot. I'm a She-Hulk fetishist. When it hits really well. When it misses, it's catastrophic. This episode was a miss. She-Hulk has a knockdown, drag-out fight with her nemesis in court. Yawn.
But to be fair, this is a legal comedy. This isn't typical
legal.
Marvel. Yeah. Well,
comedy.
legal. Yeah. This isn't we're going to solve our problems by smashing things.
Yeah. Which is still kind of ridiculous. Like the whole thing with it goes back to Wong, and he's like, I want to take this guy to court because he's using magic wrong. It's like, is that how we solve this problem? Is that really how we're deciding that this problem should be solved? Take away the sling ring. Oh, that was just stupid as hell. Like, take the thing. Court isn't where. Okay. But like, so that's not this episode. I'm just like, no.
We're beyond that now.
No, don't get caught up there. Okay, so what did you think of when? Is it Chad or Chuz or Chug? What's her like brother's name or whatever that guy is? He backs into the room with like a crate full of stuff, and he's like, "You got to sign this She-Hulk stuff for me."
Oh, yeah.
It starts with a CH. Some
Chaz.
Chaz. Yeah, that could be it.
Brother?
I don't know. I don't remember. Like his character again is just supposed to be an idiot, and that's why when he explains something to her idiotically, it's like, are you kidding me? I have to have this person. It was like the same joke that they did with the at the end of the last episode where they had the guy that sent her the process server thing or whatever. When he was like, well, that's not, a copyright, whoever gets it first. And she's like, is that how it works? They had the exact same joke in this with him. And so I don't know if you want to call it a callback. You can call it a callback to the end of the last episode. It's funny to see her frustrated by that again. It's like, she's a lawyer. She actually went to law school. She definitely knows how this works. And it's not, she's like, I didn't let them do it. And he's like, if somebody else does it before you, it's like, that's not the point that she was making. The point is like, she didn't it's not something she even thought she would have to do because she was just realizing she was She-Hulk. I did like that part of this episode. I thought that was well done. out of stuff that was. It was. What did you think about Titania?
Oh,
Titania. Tatiana.
No, Titania.
Titania. I
Titania.
Titania.
Titania. What do you think about her?
Like Titanic.
I wanted to. I when Madison was on there, 2 N's, 1 Y, but I'm not going to tell you where. That's the type of person that if I ever saw them for real, I would be very hard pressed to not punch them in the face and just walk away from it. And Titania is even worse. And I don't know why. And God help me, they're doing it again. I can't stand her, but you know what? She's a bad guy. You're not supposed to like her.
That's good, yeah.
So, but I'm just looking at it going, I want bad things to happen to you.
It's like Prince Joffrey in Game of Thrones. It's like, you are playing a person that I hate just perfectly. You are nailing it. And I agree. Debbie, what'd you think? Yeah, Titania. Titania. Titanic. Titania. I'm having a problem with that. Yeah, she's and you know she's doing it on purpose. Like She-Hulk stopped her in court, you know, messed her up. That was like the thing that happened in episode 1. And she's like, what'll I do? I'll make a total like C-word move. I'm not British, so I can't say it. And just like, I'll copyright your name so that. And that's what when you said fourth wall breaks, I think that was where there was one when she's like, the billboards are up there and she looks at the billboard and then she like looks at the camera like, are you freaking kidding me? She-Hulk by Titania.
I like the where she goes into her boss and her boss was like, why was I on the freeway today and I saw a She-Hulk billboard?
We bought you. I'm sorry. We hired you so that you could be the face of this company. Now, we didn't buy you. I'm sorry. We didn't hire you so that we could be in frivolous lawsuits. If you can't take care of this, which brings up like, okay, here's one of the problems with this episode. One of the plot points of this episode was when she gets her new lawyer friend, the black woman who represents her in court, who, by the way, is dope. And this freaked me out because there was a meme that was like, how old is this person, like in real life, the person that plays her? Someone was like 33, 34. She's like, she's 51. And it was just like, whoa.
Wow.
Well done. Yeah, so she's also great.
That's yeah, well done. But we sat down and watched Wheel of Fortune the other day. And we're watching Wheel, and it's like, how old is Vanna White? She's 60 something. I'm like, holy smoke, she's 60?
Yeah, because that's part of my career is looking good on camera. Like you know,
yes.
Still, it's very impressive, I think.
Must be rough.
But the thing that is like, she initially like makes fun of She-Hulk and like the way that she's dressed. She's like, you're gonna need to look like you're not terrible. Like, because that was one thing that I think other people that I was thinking, and I haven't really said it, but I was like, because I know she is a She-Hulk and she has to change and fit in 2 different sides, like, but her suits are just,
they're frumpy.
You know, they're frumpy. Yeah, they're not great. And that's why this whole episode is kind of about, you know, that. But that's part of the plot point was she was like, you need to dress well. And that was for the court case that is solved by the end of this episode. And she doesn't get her suit.
Yeah, she does
even by the end of the episode. Like, it's like they can't. It was like, oh, well, she needs to get a fashion. Okay, we'll make this episode about fashion. And it's like, okay, well, and then now it'll be good because she has to have for the court case. And then it was like they finished writing the episode. And they were like, well, wait, didn't she have to have this for this episode? And it's like, who cares? Nobody, if anyone's paying that much attention to this,
But you know what's
hate
gonna
it.
be good if she makes a joke about that exact same thing in the next episode. Then it becomes funny because it's like, oh, it's not taking itself seriously at this point. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Then it becomes the whole, oh well, that's just lazy writing.
And there was no end credit scene in this one, correct?
No,
like there was no. Okay, so this is the first one, no end credit scene. There was a big, or not big at all, because everyone, oh my god. So there was a
reveal.
The fashion guy's place, they're like, don't you care about people's privacy? And he's like putting the thing over to the side, and it's Daredevil's helmet, and they just cover it up. But it's like we already knew Daredevil was going to be in this. All you're doing is being like, it's going to be in the next episode, unless of course that's a boner alert, and then they're just like, it's not going to be in the next episode. It'll be 3 episodes from. It's not even going to be him.
They're going to save it for like the last episode so that they can build into the Daredevil series.
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah, but that's like what, next year or so?
I don't remember. I'd have to look it up.
It's a long ways off. I would think they would put more of him in there.
The show isn't just about cameos, okay? It's about She-Hulk.
We didn't that. Yeah, there was no cameos in this one.
Yes.
She-Hulk is one of the weakest
parts
of the show.
Well, I don't know if you can consider it a cameo, but when they were in the fashion dude's place, there was a guy. You've seen the front of him real briefly, but then you've seen the back of him as they were coming, as She-Hulk and what's her face was coming in. There was a guy who had a suit thing over his shoulder, and he was walking out the door, and he was just like kind of trying to decide which way he was going out. But that was, I'm not quite sure of his name, the frog or leapfrog. I'm not sure of his name, but that's who he was.
Oh, Daredevil's not, they're not expecting that till 2024.
I'll say that's even worse.
So maybe not.
Get excited. Don't worry. I just think a lot of people are watching She-Hulk with typical Marvel expectations of typical Marvel.
And that can be said really just about of every one of these shows. Everyone is expecting, everyone has typical Marvel expectations, and none of these shows, maybe Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but
I was gonna say this one, so
none of them really have, because that was the same thing that happened with WandaVision. People were like, what's going on here? What's happening here?
And they're like, we'll explain it.
Yeah.
In
but
Doctor
the thing
Strange too, and then it's like, not really.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, WandaVision led into multiverse of madness, but these other shows, I mean, they're all leading in to something bigger in the movies. These are just like origin stories, or just to get you familiar with the character, so they don't have to do it in the movie.
So we don't have to have an individual movie.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, it'll all come together. People are just impatient.
I hope so.
That's my theory.
Well, also the episodes are, generally 22 minutes long.
It's a 30, and something else I've noticed about this is they came out and they said at the beginning, this is a sitcom. This is going to be just a regular, this is going to be a funny haha sitcom thing. But have you noticed that, like Titania sued her, it was done in the 30 minutes. That whole story arc was done in 30 minutes. Every one of the story arcs for every one of these episodes, nothing has carried over, other than maybe a mention of something that's going to happen in the next episode at the end of the episode that you're on. But nothing really is. It's a typical sitcom to where it's like, okay, this happens today, and Joe Blow gets his car crashed and he has to explain it to his wife. And then the next episode is like nothing ever happened like that. It's just there.
I think, well, I would disagree with you. And I think that it's going to be happening more as the show continues because we know there's going to be more Abomination in it. And I think stuff like that's going to carry over. Also, stuff with her at her job, different things have carried over. Actually, in this last episode, so the episode before this, we had the montage of bad dates, which, you know, I said last week, going into that, I knew all these guys are going to be assholes because how do you have a montage of bad dates without the guys being, you know, that's so exactly, of course.
And then they drug them all through court again.
And then this episode, I was like enjoying Pug and Nikki, and I was like, yeah, can we get some more of that? This is great. And then she's like, you know what I could do? I could get all those guys and have my court case rest on that. And I was just like, all right, so we're back. I hope you didn't get too used to a guy not being a piece of crap because they're all back and they're all, and I think it actually worked. I make jokes about how every guy is a piece of crap, but that is like a part of the show. But I think that worked in this episode, bringing them back. And also the guy that tried to hit her with a needle, he's in this and he's apparently a client at the thing. So like you were saying, nothing carries over. Things have definitely, that guy's from 2 episodes ago and he was in the last episode and he's in this one again. So I definitely think there are some things that are carrying over. It'll be interesting. I think that's going to be for diehard Marvel, like making connections between every single show and what's leading up to what. I think that guy is going to be a big deal. I think that might have something to do, like you said last week,
the leader.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some things that are carrying over there and you could make the argument, and I would probably slap you in the face if you did, but in this last episode they had Daredevil's helmet. Next episode I bet Daredevil's going to be in there. That's carrying over.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because at the end of the last episode it was, Titania is suing you, and it's like, okay, well, that's leading into this episode. That's leading into
tells you that
the main plot
episode.
point. Here's the main plot point of the next episode.
Now my question is
carrying over. I don't mean whole episodes. I mean like main plot points. Just the main. What's the focus? The main focus of the show this week.
Apparently, the main focus is the Priory Castle. Oh man.
Although I will say this, I got home from work today and I was gonna sit down and watch it. And Luke asked me, he said, "Are you gonna watch it again?" And I said, yeah, because honestly, I don't remember what happened in the episode. It did not stick with me.
Yeah.
Although, if I ever come across a shirt that says Avengers on it, with a little
Avengers,
with a
like Avengers,
I'll
buy Avengers.
I'll have me an Avengers shirt.
Okay, so wasn't that like the funniest part of the whole episodes was like their excursion to that place? I even thought when they went in and he's like, yeah, Alonzo sent me, and the guy's like,
it's a coffee place.
Yeah, and she goes, "We're not police," but she says it in Chinese, and the guy's like, "I'm not Chinese." She's like, "Oh crap!" And then they're like concerned that they offended him. He goes back through the back door, and then like way too fast, he's behind them.
And
that's good comedy. That's good stuff. Like,
and he won't let him up to the designers. He's like, "So how much stuff are you gonna buy?" He's like, "Oh,
yeah." When he opens them, it's like, "So you want the Avengers shit, right?" It's like, because they're thinking like superhero suits, like actual superhero suits. And he opens up this cabinet, and it's like knockoff Avengers. It's not even Avengers stuff. It's Avengers. It's Avengers. And the great thing about, and see, this is why I love Pug. He just immediately goes and takes some things off the shelf. He grabs Captain America's shield and Thor's hammer. And he's like, "Yeah, man, this is awesome."
You know what it reminds? It reminded me of back in 01 or so. I went and saw. I went to a concert. It was Slipknot and System of a Down, a few others.
was Avengers the musical. Thanos.
But you could buy the T-shirts for the band like at the venue. You know, they had stuff set up, and then you go out into the parking lot, and some guys, hey man, I got Slipknot T-shirts right here, man. Look, $5 for a T-shirt, man. And it's like, wow, that looks really bad, but $5 for a T-shirt's not a bad price. So here you go.
This says Chica Go Bills. It's not Chicago Bill. Yeah, not it. But and that guy still ends up being the contact for the actual guy, which I also think is funny. And when they get there, and they're like, "She's an Avenger," and then they dance, and while they're dancing, I'm like, "You guys are still on the camera," and then they're like, "I can still see," and I'm like, "This is good. This is fun." Like that whole part of it, I had a lot of fun. I had probably the most fun, just genuine. Like the comedy is when Nikki and Pug were hanging out. I was like, now there's your comedy duo. I don't know, but and I think Geek News Now put out a TikTok about who would you rather hang out with, Wong and Madison. Well done, Debbie.
Very good.
Debbie. You said, would you rather hang out with Wong and Madison or Pug and Nikki?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I replied something to the point of like, Pug and Nikki, I'd like to be BFFs with. Like, yes, like I could hang out with you on a regular basis. I feel like the conversations, that all that matches up with yes. But Madison would probably know where the parties are at. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm not she but she knows where people are having a party. She knows where a good time is at. If you're looking for that sort of thing. I'm not always looking for that sort of thing.
I don't party, so I'd probably have more fun with Pug and Nikki. So.
Party! Oh, man. Yeah, that's... I guess we talk more about... some people were talking about in the end credits scene, and this is the thing that bugs me. All right, this is another thing that bugs me. There's a lot of people talking about the end credits. During the end credits, they have basically like art of different scenes from the show or scenes that didn't even happen in the show.
Just something relating to the show, possibly. Even.
Right. And one of the ones that they had in this was him actually getting his Iron Man shoes, and like Pug's there and Nikki's there. And then they have a bunch of shoes in the background, like other shoes, and there people are like, "Oh my gosh, those are Cyclops shoes! Oh my gosh, those are Thing shoes!" Like, "Oh my gosh, it's blowing my mind." I'm
Deadpool
like,
shoes. Deadpool shoes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh, MCU. This is MCU, and I'm just like, you know what would be even better is if you had that scene in the show of him getting his damn shoes. Like, why
with
not?
All those shoes?
Maybe they couldn't afford to make that many shoes.
They couldn't, Debbie. They couldn't afford to do it. I love you. But the argument that they can't afford to do it does not apply when it comes to Disney.
Disney or Marvel, either one of them.
Well, Disney is Marvel,
and Disney is Marvel.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got.
I will be talking
billions
for myself.
of dollars.
This is an open and shut case, and anybody who can't see that is a savage and an idiot.
Just saying,
they've got the money. They've got the money.
But I agree. If they would have had that as a live action scene, or even as a real end credit, or
that could have been the tag. Just hit like the end credit scene.
The end credit scene.
Getting his shoes.
Because the end credit scenes so far have not had anything to do with. I mean, you had the one where it was Wong and Madison just kind of hanging out. You had the one where She-Hulk is now, I can't even think of her name's lawyer, and they were twerking in the office. It's like woo, cool. I had to read it. Sorry. Thank you, Robert.
I know.
Love it.
I put something up there that you guys stop what you're saying. I'm like, just finish what you're saying and then read it.
It's too distracting.
But yeah, the end credits have really had nothing. It's like there was that one end credit scene for Ant-Man and the Wasp, and all it was going through his house, and you had the ant playing the drums, the big ant play, and it was like that had absolutely nothing to do with anything It was just there for fun and games.
I liked it. The ant. But yeah, I mean, just that animated or character, piece there at the end. I mean, that had everybody talking. I mean, can you imagine what it would have been like if they had actually done the live scene? I think that would have blown up even more.
Yeah. I just think it's a shame that that's, and we'll see. I still want to give this show I want to see it till the end, and then maybe
well, you have to see it. To the
yeah,
end.
you have to see it to the end, and then I can actually give a review on it, because I don't know
where we're going,
what's going to happen, and if what happens in the later episodes of plays on the, we'll see. And then it could, in my opinion, get much better. It could also not. And like I said, this was one of the better episodes in my opinion. It was just for that part. There's other part, that's what I'm saying. The logic of the episode doesn't make sense to me. They're not doing it as well as they could, and we'll see what happens with Daredevil. That's what a lot of people have been waiting for.
A lot of people thought that this episode was going to be the Daredevil episode, because
I did. I thought for sure it was going to be the Daredevil one.
And then you got a helmet, and it's remember that thing you were hoping you were seeing this time? You'll see it next time.
Maybe. Wink, wink.
But why is he in Los Angeles? That's what I want to know. Is he representing
why is the guy
somebody?
that he's picking up a suit from there and not the guy that was in his own show? Oh, well, that's not the guy that was in his show that made his original costume. That guy was awesome. Great character.
I haven't got that far yet. Don't ruin anything.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Do you realize how hard it is to watch an R-rated show when you have, thank you, when you have young children around?
Yeah, I did it all the time.
Yeah. And even then, in the evenings when everybody goes to bed, it's okay, I'm going to turn it on. I don't want to watch that. That's my wife. She doesn't want to watch that. Yes, dear.
What's bad? What's bad is when you're watching, say, Game of Thrones or right now, House of the Dragon or the House of Dragon. And, I can't even remember if it was last week's episode or the week before where they went to a
and Game of Thrones
particular side of town. and of course, there's all kinds of stuff going on, and you're hoping to God your son doesn't walk out, even though he's an adult. But it's please don't walk out with this.
I want to watch this with you.
I didn't want him to think
that's what you call and say, hey, come in here, look at this.
It's like when I ended up watching.
Are you watching porn, Mom?
Wedding Crashers unrated with my parents. And it was this movie's great and hilarious, and we all understand that, but there are certain scenes where we're just we're just pretending we're not.
We don't acknowledge.
I'm gonna run to the kitchen real quick.
Just look straight ahead, no expression.
Maybe that's
don't
a good
make
time
a big
for a
deal
bathroom
out
break.
of it. I mean, my son watches the show too. I mean, he watches House of Dragons, but still.
Yeah, it doesn't watching it together. Yeah, it's very odd. It's very.
Well, even him just walking through the room, I was just because a couple times I'd hear his door open. I'm please go to the bathroom. Please
don't like to acknowledge, understand that it's a part of our lives that happens, but we don't need to do it together. Not like they do in this show. Come check it out.
It's awkward.
No, Game of Thrones did something Game of Thrones-ish. Game of Thrones season 1, where they really went for it, when they were yo, there's going to be nudity every couple scenes, and then that drops off entirely. It's well, that was to get you hooked.
Or the boys.
Now we'll just have brutal murders. Got to get that incest in.
Oh. Revenge scenes are the best.
Do we have anything else we want to say about this episode of She-Hulk? Because I
don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
we covered everything.
It was a 30-minute episode.
Yeah, well, that's what I was like last week. We talked about 2 episodes and D23 announcements, and we had
it was like right at an hour.
Yeah. I'm good.
It's good.
Yeah, I feel like we're just gonna call it for today. What are you gonna do? I do want to. The chat has been great. I haven't been putting it all in the show because you guys have been talking about
haunted castles and whatnot.
Haunted castles, which is great. Yeah. I was like, yes, my Scottish.
I would love to go ghost hunting. I think that would be fun.
But we do appreciate you being here, Robert. Yes, Geek News Now does have a TikTok. I also have a TikTok, and probably knew about that. But I do try to tag Geek News Now in it whenever I use stuff that we're doing together. So, yeah, keep an eye out for those things. Those keep coming. We'll be back with more next week. We're going to hopefully have some Daredevil to talk about. That might be more... I don't know, like it's it's I guess the thing is with even the other shows, there was potentially more like, oh, what did we see in this? What is it leading up to? There's not as much of that in this. And even if things are going to end up connecting, it is more like just like it's a second, like Scrubs week to week. I wouldn't need to get together to talk about what happened. Let's just be like, that was funny. That was fun. Not like, how does that connect to the rest of the...
I really wish they wouldn't have put that in the trailer, Daredevil. I wish they would have left it as a complete surprise. I think it, because now that's all everybody's waiting for, like that meme, everybody's waiting for Daredevil. Where the hell is he?
But that had been rumored though since this show was announced. That was rumored that he was going to be.
It was rumored,
but Mephisto's been rumored to be the villain in every single project that's.
He was in this show. Come on now.
Yeah, okay, but you get the point that I'm making. Like, rumors one thing, to actually have it in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
That's another, and that's actually Debbie, to your point. I've seen some comments, or I think it was someone made a meme out of it. They took a screenshot of it, at least, of someone saying, leave it to Disney to spoil their own
surprise
Easter eggs. Yeah, exactly. It's like, that helmet at the end of this episode might have gotten people, like, we might have been like, this show might have started with us being like, can you believe it? Daredevil's going to be the next step, because no one would have heard about it until they saw that. But everybody already knew it was coming. Frankly, to put that at the end of this episode is kind of just like, yeah, we get it. That's why half of us are freaking here. Like, are you kidding me? Like it's what are you doing? That's not how you do this. Why are you doing it this way? Oh, here we go. Okay. Robert, I didn't watch the trailer for She-Hulk, so it was real to me, damn it. Touche. Some people don't watch. I actually, this guy that ended up getting married to my cousin, they got divorced, so I should have known immediately he was trash, but he was like, yeah, I never watch trailers. I like to go into things completely blind. I was like, never watch any trailer. I was just impressed. I was like, how do you go through
social media?
Do you watch other things? Like, do you own a computer? Do you have a phone? How do I get in touch with you?
Well, I like to watch maybe like, they always come out with that little teaser trailer, and then they come out with the longer length trailer.
Yes.
I like to watch those two, and that's it. But then they go overboard, and they have to have 50,000 TV spots, and it's just like,
well, that's what they do. That's what the
overload.
big name movies, and that's why you see you're inundated with tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff from the biggest name stuff, but you never even hear about some of these smaller things, such as what Stuart Henderson here is talking about. The only reason you might know about that, Brendan Fraser, yes, has a new movie, The Whale, I think it's called. I don't know how to spell his last name. Yeah, it's Fraser, Brendan Fraser of The Mummy and other wonderful projects,
Encino Man,
Jungle, Encino Man, at Scrubs. Fantastic.
Blast
from the Past.
Loved Blast from the Past. Great movie. Go see
I
that.
watch it every time it pops up on Netflix.
Brandon Fraser, he has a new movie out. I don't know if it's out yet.
No, I think
because he just got like a,
I think he's doing a
standing ovation or whatever for his performance in it. But he plays like a vastly overweight person.
The Whale.
And apparently it's a standout performance, and he's been gone for a while. He hasn't been doing a lot recently, and there was controversy around that, but he's always been fantastic in what I've seen him in. I just enjoy him, his presence. He seems so genuine.
And I think he's in, I don't know if it's a movie or if it's a TV series. I can't remember, but
I think he was supposed to be in the Batwoman movie that got canceled too.
Yeah,
Batgirl, yeah.
In that. Yeah, he was.
Which might have been the only thing about that I would have been actually interested to see how that turned out. But
yeah, there was something else. I just seen it briefly on TikTok, and I didn't really.
Doom Patrol.
It
Good
releases.
Call, John.
I love
Thank
Doom
you, John.
Patrol.
Doom Patrol, absolutely.
It releases December 9th. December 9th is when The Whale releases. So a couple more months.
Well, I'll probably wait for it to come out on Netflix or whatever. Or rent it when it comes out on Vudu.
Voodoo. Who do you voodoo? And he was actually in 2 episodes of Scrubs.
Was it 2? I thought it was 3. I thought it was 2 when they first found out he had leukemia.
Well, there was one.
And then the third one, he came back for when they went to the funeral.
I thought there was only 2. The first one he was in, and then the second one he was in where they have the funeral. Let's see.
Oh, I've got him up. Hang on, I'll find him.
Do. Oh, am I in the wrong area? Yeah. Well, his character in that is great anyway.
Oh yeah, his character in that one. I was just I'm looking at it going, I would just like to go hang out with this guy.
He plays the brother of Jordan, who Dr. Cox, that's his ex-wife, who he's still kind of in a relationship with throughout the entire show. And the whole thing about Dr. Cox is that he is this unyielding, dedicated, but like severe teacher. And JD, the guy that's like trying to learn from him and trying to like get some sort of affection from him, has only ever seen him as this like severe. And so Ben comes in, Brendan Fraser.
He was in 3 episodes. Yes.
3 episodes. And so he comes in as like a friend, and to see them like hanging out and laughing, it just blows his mind. And then the whole way that like ends up with Dr. Cox.
Oh, that was one of those. Golly,
where do you think we are? That's why Scrubs is one of my all-time favorite shows. The heights of comedy, it's like gets me laughing like almost nothing else. The musical episode, best thing ever. But then it can take you down so at the very next scene, the very next thing they will take you down and be like, oh my gosh, because it's in a hospital. And then like the next scene will take you right back up, and it's just.
It's a roller coaster of emotions.
It's fantastic. It's wonderful. And Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser. Go watch Scrubs. It's hilarious. It's worth it.
I've seen episodes here and there. I don't know why I never watched it. I have no clue.
Brendan Fraser was also in.
We found ourselves in a quantum leap.
Brendan Fraser was
that
also in George of the Jungle. Don't forget George of the Jungle.
George of the Jungle. Is that? Did I say that?
I watched that.
That's one of my favorites.
George of the Jungle, strong as he can be.
Do, 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 do.
Oh, watch out for that tree. Watch out for that tree.
That had one of the greatest lines in all of cinema when you had the two bad guys and one of them tell the narrator's talking about something. He goes, "Would you just shut up?" And then all of a sudden the screen shakes and he goes, "Were you just arguing with the narrator?" Don't do that.
I might start rewatching Scrubs tonight after this. Forgot how good it was. Robert Young, it's one of my favorite shows.
I think
it's one of the things
I'm the same way, Robert.
That I have on my computer. Like I won't trust it to streaming. I won't trust it to anything. Like I need to know that I will have that if I need to watch it. Scrubs is
maybe not
Janitor. Come on.
Maybe not like the last. Was it the last season?
The very last season was like a half reboot thing where they were at a teaching hospital and he's only in a couple episodes and it's not nearly as good, but it's still better than things that aren't Scrubs. So I still watch it when and as I'm watching, I'm like, man, I wish this was just actual Scrubs. But
when he walks out of the hospital at the very last episode and they're playing Book of Love by Peter Gabriel, I'm just like.
They have some great music in that show.
All the emotions and everything, and it's just like, and then the show ends, and it's like, okay, I can stop there. I'm good.
Stuart, I like the later seasons too. The later seasons, that last season though, like the one where they're at the teaching hospital, that's a little bit different. But yeah, they really came into their own. I don't even necessarily like the first season as much. If I'm doing a full rewatch, then it's like, fine, I'll do the whole thing. But if I just want to like start out, if I just want to watch a random episode, I'll go into season 5, 6, 7. Absolutely. Because they've really come into their own by then. And it was a phenomenal show. Archer is that show for me I can't live without. See, I haven't watched some of the newest seasons of Archer, but yeah, Archer is another one that I've rewatched like from season 1 up through season 5 or 6. Like I've seen that several times. And a big John H. Benjamin and was it Jessica Walters? She is the mother. She was also in Arrested Development. She plays the mother in that. If you know who she is, she's just like the exact same character, but like times 10 because it's a cartoon and it's amazing. Oh, yeah, here we go. John Amber. We make fun of the patients to distance ourselves from them. And sometimes because it's really funny. And that's a whole episode where Turk is having like a crisis of conscience because he's worried about, is he too callous because he made a joke about, and then Dr. Kelso is like wheeling out a dead person and he makes a joke and Turk goes, "Sir, I think we should be more respectful." And it's like, "Oh, why? Do you think he cares?" And like he lifts up his hand and drops it. And it's like, "I don't think he does." And then it's like, we are surrounded by death all day. We're doctors. Do you think? And then because he's talking about like another people that are hearing that their loved one just died, and so Dr. Cox is telling this to Turk. He's like, "Look at the people in that room. They just found out that someone they loved more than anything in this world is dead. Do you think any of them are going back to work today?" We have to distance ourselves from this kind of thing because we're around it constantly. All the time, yeah. It's like but you know what we have to do? We have to be able to give that news and then go back to work. So, and that's like Scrubs. Like,
oh, and Ted's
that's
band.
A comedy.
Don't forget Ted's band. Ted's band was amazing.
Let's just do a Scrubs Geek News next week. Well, we'll have to devote at least half the episode to She-Hulk. But I might get some clips together. I've got it. All right, so we've got a plan for next week. Next week, tune into MCU Mondays, where we'll be talking about She-Hulk
and the first season of Scrubs.
and no, and
just in general,
Scrubs. Yeah, I don't want to limit ourselves to season 1. There's too much. I've got some of my memes that I've made about Star Wars use Scrubs as the. Oh my goodness! All right, what do we got, John? The bit where Kelso hides by blending into the mural. Kelso, I know you're there. You're 3-dimensional. It's so good. Yeah, okay, so we're going to talk about Scrubs next week. Anyway, that's it for this week on MCU Mondays. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad that we have come to this decision that we're going to watch Scrubs. And you know what? As a fun little thing that's probably going to get this stream shut down, so who cares? Because we're ending it anyway. I'm going to play the video that I made today because my sister's home from Italy, where she's in the Navy, and she's getting married on October 1st. And we were watching some It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and we were watching this episode, and they were talking about Quantum Leap, and I know how much Debbie loves Quantum Leap.
But before you end, Thursday night, GNN Cantina Happy Hour. That's my show. We're talking Star Wars. Andor drops 3 episodes on Wednesday, and we're talking all 3 of them.
Okay, so, actually, that's a pretty big deal. So, yeah, yes, Andor's happening for all that. But if you want to get back in here for some Scrubs, tune in on Monday. No. But so this is a clip from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. This is from season 12, episode 1, where the gang turns black, which is they look normal, but when they look in the mirror, they look like black people. And so they have this whole body switching thing to deal with. And it's just great. But I was thinking of Debbie because I know you love Quantum Leap.
What the hell's a Quantum Leap?
Oh, a great show from the Coke-fueled era of 80s television where Scott Bakula would leap into other people's bodies, but he didn't know it unless he saw his reflection.
Help him out. Do the Quantum Leap thing. See that thing through, in case it's that. And the 3 of us will go out and we'll try to do the Freaky Friday thing. Try to figure out whose bodies we switch with.
Oh, what? That's Scott Bakula from Quantum Leap?
I thought you said Blackula, like a black vampire.
Show, I can't get away from it. Look, that was just a TV character. I'm an actor.
Why you got him up?
Researching a role?
You didn't get a piece of the show? Your residuals ran out. I'm sorry.
30 years, okay?
All right, okay. Yeah. Reunited a family.
Yeah.
We're gonna leap.
We're gonna leap
now.
now.
Right now. Ziggy, now!
It's not working. How do you do it?
How'd you do it on the show?
Okay, just get out, okay? Get out. Everybody get out.
Fine, Scott. But listen to me. Don't steal our leap.
Yeah, don't steal the leap.
How did they know that my wife took it all? And I'm not researching roles. How did they know? Ziggy, if you hear me, take me far, far from here. Let me leap to 89, that was a better year. I miss my old Camaro and my mansion in Van Nuys. Wish I still hung with Nash Bridges, played poker with a fall guy. Oh, Ziggy, can you see my tears? Ziggy! Lead me far, far from here.
Why don't you leap on up to the 3rd floor? Somebody shit all over the dining hall.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia is one of the best shows around. And I say that knowing that Scrubs exists. So, so next week, we're going to be talking about Scrubs. Don't forget to tune in Thursday night to talk about Andor. That's coming out this week.
3 episodes on Wednesday.
So you Star Wars fans,
Ooh.
All right. That's it. We're out of here. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Shit! Language. Wait a second. No one else is going to deal with the fact that Cap just said language? Just slipped out.
Find the scepter.
And for gosh sake, watch your language.
That's not going away anytime soon.
You bet your ass.
Steve, he said a bad language word.
Did you tell everyone about
The
that?
heado's imprinted. Out with the platinum bastard.
Steve doesn't like that kind of talk.
You know what, Romanov? Fury, you son of a bitch.